What's going on, all you people out there in Facebook Live and YouTube land? Welcome to this episode of On Another Line Live. Today, we're going to be talking about some of my goals for the 2023 fishing season, as well as a tournament that I just fished on New Year's Day. We're going to talk about the baits I threw, what I saw, my usage of my Humminbird graphs that I just got on, and the last but not least thing we're going to talk about is the tungsten I have available. I've decided to sell this batch of tungsten I have at a major discount to y'all out there that are following me, especially if you're local. No shipping charges. I'm going to be able to hook you guys up with this stuff cheap. So without further ado, after this short intro, we're going to get right into it.
Gotta get your arms way up in a cat and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Lumens trying to bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck and give it a whirl. Hello and welcome to my world.
Hey, and welcome back again, guys, to this episode of On Another Line Live. Appreciate you guys sticking around for this very first episode of the 2023 fishing season. Last week, I was non-existent. I posted like 5 minutes before the show was supposed to air. And I wasn't going to be online, so I apologize for that. I was actually in Nashville, Tennessee, playing some gigs with my buddy Jamie Baxter. So I'm trying to get my feet underneath me, if you will. Most of you guys know, but I'm going to be opening up for Clay Walker here. Actually, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 14th of January here in Ashland, Kentucky. Not too far from my hometown, which has been, if I said that I wasn't nervous, I would be telling you a lie for sure. But went down there to play some bigger gigs and tried to, shake the nerves a little bit. And that's why I wasn't live last week. I spent a few days down there playing. We played at Miranda Lambert's bar down there and a few other places. So it was a good time. But now I'm back to work, and I'm back to work with you guys. So I appreciate you guys sticking around again. Quick note, again, I do have some tungsten available. I am fairly happy with the product. And again, this first batch of tungsten I have that I'm going to sell to you guys at a cut rate, but that doesn't mean it is cut rate quality. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out as far as the tungsten. This is a 3/4 ounce worm weight. It's chip resistant, diamond polished. There's no inserts in it. We were over there. I was over at Jared Caesar's house the other day, and I was buying another Solix off from him, and we put these things on. I got these the day that I went over there, and we put them on a scale, and they measure out to be 3/4 ounce as far as this one goes. I haven't measured the rest of them, but I will be having some preliminary pricing coming out for these things right now very soon. If you're local, get a hold of me. I guarantee you're not going to beat this tungsten price, and I'm going to be able to give you guys this stuff at the very first thing. And again, I have 1/8 ounce, 3/16, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, and a few others. So I do have some stuff there if you're interested in getting your hands on there. What's up, Aaron? Strix Marine in the house. Again, so that's available if you guys are interested. Again, it's not going to be available at the tackle box right now. The packaging guys killed me on the price. I did the packaging because on the backside of the little card, it has a QR code that will take you to my YouTube channel. I bought this stuff, and I'm, having this stuff produced just for the simple reason I want to get my YouTube channel out there. So the packaging causes this stuff to be fairly expensive for me to buy. So the very first batch that I have, I'm going to sell to you guys pretty much in what I have in it. So get a hold of me. If you're interested in buying some tungsten, I'll give you, a great deal on it. Hey, Corey, what's up, buddy? I need to get a hold of you before the fishing season starts to get stocked back up on the old pinch o' garlic from JB's Fish Sauce. Can't wait for that. Hey, Randy. No, my hats are not available yet. I am actually doing some quality control on some hats. I ordered some hats from a company. I was not happy with them. The patches were coming off and things. The patches were too dark. As soon as I get some in, I'll definitely let you know. I appreciate it. All right, Aaron, I'll get a hold of you. Like I said, I got plenty. I got some. I think I got 600 weights, different sizes. So I'll let you know. So this past weekend, let's talk about what happened this past weekend. So we all know it was New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day was Sunday. We were supposed to fish Lewis County Lunkers, Brandon Buckner and those guys that I fish with. They have they have a great club. It's kind of small, but they're building the stuff up. He posted on their Facebook page that they were going to have a little open out at Grayson on New Year's Eve, which would, and then he postponed it till Sunday because it was supposed to rain all day on Friday, which I'm kind of glad he did. So we go out on Sunday, and I put my boat in the water and look at the water temperature, and it's a balmy 39 to, I think the highest I saw was 42 degrees. So I decided that I do what I always do in the spring and the wintertime, and that's going down to Deer Creek. Well, let's just preface this story about what happened the other day with this story right here. Last summer. Let's just say this. It wasn't even last summer. It was last spring. I picked up a bait. A buddy of mine that follows me sent me a message. He's like, dude, you got to try this crankbait out. It absolutely smashes them around here. So I went to the tackle box and picked up a couple of them, and I started throwing them, and he's right. They absolutely do crush bass, but he told me to get a certain collar. They didn't have the certain collar that he told me to get, so I bought a similar collar, but it wasn't the exact same collar. And now since then, I've bought the collar he told me, and I think the one that I bought actually catches fish better, in my opinion, than the other one, but they both absolutely hammer fish. So I take this thing to Lake St. Clair, the very first time I really use it, places where it has a lot of bass. So I'm throwing this thing, and I'm just absolutely getting crushed by bass. I bet I caught 20 bass after bass after bass after bass, about 8 foot deep, throwing this little, it's kind of like a square bill. I'm not going to give you the secret, guys, because it's not my secret to give it away. If it was mine, something I found, I would, but sorry about that. I try to keep my buddies' baits secret because, again, they're good enough to let me try to fish their stuff. I'm not going to blow it out like that. But anyway, so I'm throwing this crankbait, and I'm catching fish after fish after fish. You know what happens when you get in this big, flurry of fishing, you never retie your bait. We all know that you should retie your bait. Well, we don't. Especially again in a big, flurry like that. So I make a big long cast, and that bait just goes flying into the next century. And I'm out in open water on Lake St. Clair. There's nothing to go by where the bait landed. I saw where the bait landed, but you know how it goes. The water current moving in Lake St. Clair and your boat going different directions. Anyway, I put my trolling motor on high, and I went to try to find the crankbait. Well, I searched for 15 minutes, man, zigzagging through that water, never did find it. So luckily I had another one. So I got down in my boat and was tying on a second one there. And by the time I had got up and was actually getting ready to make a cast with this second crankbait, Dusty, who was a quarter mile away from me in another boat, in his boat, sends me a picture of a fish that he has caught on the crankbait that I lost. He knew that I had been fishing it because I'd fished it with him at Yatesville, actually Grayson, a few months before that. And we caught some fish out there that day. So he saw it, and he knew that's where I was catching fish on. So he ties it on, makes a couple casts, and actually catches a fish on it and sends me a picture of it. So fast forward a couple weeks, when he comes back in from Alabama, he gives me the bait, and he's like, here you go, man. Here's your bait back. Pretty cool story. Well, it's been sitting in my truck ever since. I've been looking at this bait. It's literally been sitting in the console of my truck since probably 1st of June, somewhere in there. I just haven't had an opportunity to get it out of there. So Sunday rolls around. I'm putting my boat in. I look over in the console, and sure enough, there's that thing laying there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm fishing it. So I grabbed it, take it back to the boat, tie it on, and we went fishing. I threw that crankbait for the better part of about 3 hours in the morning, off and on. And then all of a sudden, I get up into this one spot that I really like in Deer Creek, and I make a cast in about 8 foot of water, and this thing loads up on it. So I'm reeling it. My net's in my actual box. I've forgotten my GoPro cables. Like, it's just a mess. The first term of the year, I don't have any footage really. This thing is diving under the boat. I'm trying one-handed to get the net, and I finally get the net out and get the fish in the net. Ends up being about a 4-pounder, like 406 or something, which ended up being the big bass of the tournament. And it's crazy that's the way that the universe works. It's been a crazy deal with that. But I will tell you, and I'm sure you guys have all ran into this situation. I have 15 of these crankbaits now because I buy them every time I see them. They're very like sporadically available at different places. So I buy them. They're not cheap. They're like 15 to 20 bucks a piece. So, I can't go just hog crazy with it. But anyway, I have a bunch of these, but there's always that one bait that you just throw that has a different wobble. The rattles are different. The hooks, there's something different about the bait that fish just, maybe it's just a confidence thing. I don't know. But this one bait right here has absolutely murdered some fish. And it's been a crazy around the world story about losing it, Dusty finding it, him catching fish, he giving it back to me, seeing it, catching a fish, and winning the tournament. Pretty crazy. Yeah, man. So I've been super lucky. First of all, I guess I'm not lucky. I guess I'm just blessed. That the fact that I worked a ton over the summer, different places. Those of you guys know that I worked for Gibson Guitar over the summer for a while, helping them do some things down there. I did some other things over the summer, and I made a little bit of extra lunch money, if you will, over the summer. And I had a little bit of money laid back, and I spent a ton of money on the first graph that I had. So I had a Solix 15 that I bought new from Greg at the Tackle Box, which, by the way, if you guys don't know this, Greg at the Tackle Box in South Point, Ohio, can order you things like graphs and trolling motors and stuff. He just doesn't keep them in stock. So you might want to check there to see what his price is on them before you actually go anywhere else. So I ordered one. I think it was in August. I finally get it probably September-ish. Get it put on. Everything's working great. Love that thing, man. It's phenomenal. The Gen 3 Mega is an absolute game changer. I have never seen anything more clear in my life. You guys saw some pictures there a few weeks ago on my channel that I have found a bridge in Yatesville that I didn't know existed, and I fished the exact same spot for 15 years. I probably have 100 shaky heads hung up on this bridge thinking it's timber or something, who knows. But I saw it. And then recently, Jared Caesar posts some stuff on the Yatesville fishing page. And a lot of that stuff was amazing deals, guys. It was crazy. So I saw that he had a Solix 15 Gen 3 Mega, and it had everything. The fish, or it had the graph, it had the transducers, the cables, the mounting brackets, the whole 9 yards. And it only had 46 hours on it, which to me is like practically brand new. So I called Jared. I was like, hey, man, I'm out of town in Nashville. I'll be back here in a few weeks or a few days. I'd like to come and look at that graph if it's available, but don't hold it for me. He said, okay. So I called when I get back. I said, hey, man, I'd like to come and take a look at that graph. And he said, it's already sold. And I was like, crap. I figured it was a good deal. So he tells me that Chris Malone, the guy that owns Malone's Marine in Ironton, buys the graph. He bought all of them because they were such a great deal. I don't know if he's planning on using them for himself or trying to sell them outright. No clue. But Chris was good enough to let me buy it from Jared instead of him buying it. So now I have a Solix 15 on my dash or on my console and a Solix 15 on the bow of my boat, which is far cry bigger than the 10 that I was going to put up there. So it's amazing how the world works, and I'm super glad to be able to purchase those things this year. My boat's finally paid off, and that's why I can actually justify that stuff. But I am super pumped about to see what comes up. Looking for that 360 transducer. That'll be my next purchase. Wow, 56-degree water temperature. That is nuts, man. Did you catch any fish? Hey, Fred, Happy New Year, buddy. Dude, I don't know, man. I probably just hang it in my box, and then like on special occasions, like big tournaments or something, drag that baby out. Make sure I retie it every 8 casts or something. I don't know. Mark, so I actually run some of the best batteries on the planet that are AGM. They're not lithium, but I've been lucky enough to be affiliated with Odyssey Battery for the past 4 years. I have some 31 series, a 31M. It's like PCM 2150s. They're astronomically big batteries. They're like 72 pounds a piece. I am running one 31 series for my graphs trolling motor, or my graphs, which are 215s now. Take that for what it's worth. And my starting my motor, and also the live well pumps. Will I have to eventually upgrade to a second one? That's yet to be seen. Depends on how hot it gets and if I'm actually catching fish or not. Yet Sunday, I ran both graphs, and the reason I had to run both graphs is that I haven't actually had to buy the trolling motor mount for the transducer for the one on the front. And I just have them networked. Thanks, by the way, to Balin McKinney out there at the Tackle Box. He hooked me up big time on that Ethernet cable. But anyway, so I have them networked. So I was running the back graph transducer off the back of the boat just to check, side scan, down scan, stuff like that off the back of the boat on the front of the trolling, or up on the front of the boat. And I had to run both of them. So normally what I would do is keep the back one on standby and then just run the front one when I'm up there. Well, if you put the back one on standby, the transducer goes away too. So if you have it on standby, you don't get to use that transducer that's actually being routed through that other graph, which makes sense now, but just didn't think about it. So when I actually get the transducers on the front of the boat, whether that be the one that comes with it or a 360 eventually, I'll be able to put the back one on standby mode, it takes less of the battery away from that instead of running it all day. But I will tell you that I caught a fish at 9:30 in the morning, and I ran the two live well pumps that are in one of my live wells. So the ox pump and the main pump on timed after it filled up. And I ran my both 15-inch graphs all day. I was looking at the supply of my battery power coming on my graphs, and the lowest that it ever went down to was 12.3 volts. And that was me fishing all day long with fish in my live well and two 15-inch graphs running all the time. Normally, I would only have one running. So hopefully I think I can get away with this big giant Odyssey I have, but that's something I'm just going to have to, yet to be seen. I am carrying a NOCO lithium battery pack, like a booster in my boat now. So in case something like that would happen, I'll be able to, boost my battery or jump it. But I think if I have to go that route, is that I have a fourth Odyssey 2150 that I'll put in there, and I'll run those in, I guess it will be parallel. So it would still be 12 volts, but I'm going to have double the capacity. Yeah, I figure. So with that being said, one of the things that I'm very new to the electronics game. I had Humminbird 6-inch graphs on my boat before. I used them for depth. I used them for water temperature. I used them for navigation. Other than that, they were downscan imaging and they had decent images on them. But as far as finding fish, the 2D sonar and stuff, if you're deep, you'll be able to find them, but not like I have now. So I went out Grayson fishing before we went. I was trying to build a pattern using my graphs because, again, I'm a newbie. I'm an amateur. So I started graphing areas that I thought fish would be hanging in this time of year. Again, we're in a winter pattern right now. Water temperature was 39 when we put in. There was still ice on top of the water. Last week, guys, I can guarantee you pretty much 90% of all Grayson Lake was frozen over. I don't think it was nowhere near close enough to be thawing or thick enough for you to walk on. It was just a skim of ice all the way across it. But we're still looking at 39. And again, when I was in Deer Creek, back towards the back, the most or the highest temperature that I saw was about 42. It never went to 43. 42 was the highest I saw. So I started graphing around in these areas that I thought fish would be congregating in this time of year. I was looking at deeper spots, looking at channel swings. I was looking at, just things that I thought fish would be, migrating to here in the winter, especially as the water gets super cold. And then the places that I was graphing, I wasn't finding any fish stocked up in any of those areas. I would find a ton of bait fish in these areas. I would see one or two fish around those bait fish. Could have been striper, could have been catfish, they could have been anything. But one thing that I did take away from that is that I didn't see any fish that was really deep in that opportunity. I know that there's spots on Grayson that fish hang out. In the summertime, different ball game. But right now, I was finding spots that I thought fish would jump into this time of year. So I was graphing around, and I never saw any fish in these areas that I was actually wanting to fish. And I'm talking anywhere from 15 to 25 foot of water. I figured I was going to drag a big jig somewhere slow and try to catch something. Well, as luck would have it, I didn't find any of those fish. So did these graphs help me catch fish in a way that I found fish like that? No. However, not seeing those fish deep like that gave me an opportunity to build a pattern that I knew that the fish were going to be more shallow than that. So I started side scanning, and I was finding structure and things. When I would find that structure that was in that 4 to 8 foot range, I was seeing fish congregated around like stumps and logs and rocks and things like that. And then, so I started fishing shallow, and that's why I started picking up that crankbait. And the 4-pounder I caught was in 6 foot of water, on a sandy bank, which is weird this time of year. No rocks, no stumps, nothing, just a slick sandy bank. I was throwing that crankbait up in there, parallel on the bank, about 6-8 foot. The thing loaded up on it. Then the next fish I caught, well, actually was, you guys saw it there a few weeks ago, Jesse French from Blue Rock Tackle. He sells a Ned. I think it's called, don't quote me on it, Freedom. Anyway, it's a Ned with a skirt on it. I was immediately sold when I saw it. I'm like, why did I never think of this thing? It's phenomenal bait, looks great. So I took a net bait, pocket crawl, and cut the actual, like, for the torso and the pinchers off from it, and actually threaded that on there and made like a small micro jig out of that, almost like a hair jig, but it had living rubber on it. So I threw that around and I got bit. The very first probably half hour I threw it, I caught a 14 and 7/8 inch fish. Grayson, the limit is 15 inches. So no matter how I stretched it, it wasn't going to 15 inches. So I threw it back, and I fished those two baits pretty much the entirety of the day. So pulled up on a bank that's really steep, had some rocks on it. Looking into that, it was really steep, and then kind of plateaued off about that 8 foot range. So basically the same pattern I've been running all day. I started throwing that little Ned up there towards that thing. I got bit by a fish, set the hook. It was a little 12-inch fish, threw it off, made one more cast, and it ended up being a 302 or whatever it was. So I had 7 pound and 2 fish at Grayson. Ended up winning the tournament and having big bass for the day. And again, the fish came on a 7 to 8 foot diving crankbait. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you the crankbait one. Again, it's not my secret to tell, but it's just a small square bill style crankbait, diving into that 3 or 5 to 8 foot range. And it's got a rattle in it, I will tell you that. So I think that had a lot to do with picking up that bite. But I caught the 4-pounder at about 9:30 in the morning, and I didn't catch my second keeper until 2:30 in the day, and the tournament ended at 4 o'clock. So all in all, it was a good day. Crankbaits. I told you guys in the last episode that I wanted to try to get back into the power fishing mode that I love to do. For some reason, I'm in a situation where I'll go fish a tournament. If I don't catch something, I'm cranking or whatever in the first 5 minutes of the tournament, I'm picking up a jig or a wacky rig or a Ned rig, something I can fish slow. And sometimes I just get absolutely beat down doing that. So I made a decision on New Year's Day there that I was going to pick up moving baits for most of the day, and I did. I threw a jerk bait, I threw a crankbait, I threw a spinner bait, a lipless crankbait, I threw a blade bait, I threw what else? I threw a Texas rig and things like that. But 90% of the day I threw moving baits. So I locked those things in my hand, and I think that's what gave me the opportunity to win this tournament, because I don't think I would have caught that 4-pounder throwing what I was throwing slow. Again, I think it was a reaction bite, 41-degree water temperature, moving really slow. I was throwing that crankbait on a 6-gear ratio, throwing it on the 7.3 medium heavy glass Poison Adrena. It was just, everything just worked out. Hey, Jared. Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for coming. Let me come over and pick your brain for a little bit, and hope everything works out. And maybe we'll get on the water one day soon. Yeah, that's me, guys. Little old me. 0 the first day, little one the second day. 3 foot, less than 3 foot of water. It could be. So, I feel like that the spot that I'm at, and Mark, it's not a Fritz side, I promise. It's similar. Fritz side would be in the same realm. I think a Fritz side is great. Fritz side 5, Fritz side 7, somewhere in there. That's you're almost dead on, but that's not it. Well, yeah, man. Everybody got to have an ace in the hole, right? But it was an amazing day, guys. It's one of those things where that's the earliest I've ever caught a fish. I mean, New Year's Day. That's like the very first tournament for the very first day of the 2023 season, and I win the tournament big bass. It's all downhill from here, boys. Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, so let's talk about some of my goals for this year. My goals for this year is to bring you guys better content on my YouTube channel. We talked about it the other day when I had, I had some people on, and we talked about how YouTube is a weird place. If you are like Tactical Bassin, or you're like Gene Jensen, or you're like these other guys who got in YouTube early and have great content and do a phenomenal job, these guys are absolutely blowing it out of the water. The problem is right now, YouTube is so saturated with people like me, content creators, producing the same amount of stuff. There's only so many videos you can make about throwing a freaking chatterbait. So I'm trying to figure out ways that I can actually bring in some content for you guys that makes sense for me. And this year, I'm going to start a series called the Co-Angler Chronicles. I'm going to be fishing some decent sized tournaments this year as a co-angler. I'm going to be talking about my travels to and from these things. We'll be talking about how I'm pre-fishing, maybe interviewing the people that I'm fishing with, and just seeing what life is like as a co-angler. The biggest thing for me is a lot of people ask me, how come I don't fish on the pro side? Well, they call it the pro side. It's the boater side of like the BFL or what have you. And the fact of the matter is, do I feel like I'm good enough to compete on the boater level? I do. I think I on any given day, I have the opportunity to catch some fish to win a tournament. Am I saying I'm going to win them all? No. Am I saying that I'm going to win one every year? Also, no. But I do think I have the ability or have the confidence to win one. The biggest reason that I don't fish as a boater is the fact that the end of the year tournaments, those regionals and those All Americans and things, they always fall in the fall of the year. And that's when I go back to school, and I can't take days off of work while we're in school to pre-fish, to go down in there and actually have a potential to win these things. So the reason that I fish as a co-angler is that I don't want to set myself up for failure at the end of the year, and I also don't want to set my co-angler up for failure at the end of the year either, because in the grand scheme of things, guys, to make those regional tournaments, to make those All-Americans, to make, to win a Bass Open, Corey Weaver, he's the co-angler of the year for the Bass Opens there on his division down there, which is an amazing accomplishment. But that's the reason I do it. So I'm going to be fishing some more tournaments this year. But one of my goals for this year in the fishing world, as far as my YouTube channel, is to hit 6,000 subscribers. And I'm going to need your help to do that. Right now I'm just under 4,000. I'm like, I think about 45 away from 4,000, which was my goal for this year, which I'm a couple months late and I didn't hit, which is okay. I didn't produce a lot of content, obviously, because life happened, selling houses, lost my dad in April. It was just, it's just a year that nobody wants to go through, but I had to go through it. And here I am. So I'm picking myself up by the bootstraps. I'm going to come out and produce some content, go fishing and have fun. And that's what it's all about. I'm still going to fish no matter what, but guys, you would not believe how much effort it takes to go out and film a show and edit it and put it on YouTube and deal with comments and talk to people. Like that's a lot of work. And I'll be honest with you right now, I'll call a spade a spade. I'm making $100 a month on YouTube. And that's $100 I didn't have. You're correct. But when you think about the probably 100 hours a month that I have doing YouTube stuff, it's not a great deal. So my goal is to try to produce better content to get people out there to see my stuff and have fun doing it. Hey, Chuck, what's up, buddy? It's not balsa. It's not balsa. Hey, Nate. Do I prefer catching smallmouth over largemouth, or just depend on location and the time of year? If I had to choose one fish to catch the rest of my life, it would be a smallmouth, hands down. Better fighting, sometimes easier to catch, especially if they're on the bed. And I just like catching that. Their feeding patterns sync up with the way I fish a lot better. Don't discredit largemouth fishing, though. I love largemouth fishing. We don't have a great opportunity to fish smallmouth around here. Would I rather catch a 10-pound largemouth or a 6-pound smallmouth? I don't know. That's a tough question there. I obviously, a 6 pounds a smallmouth and a 10-pound largemouth, those are, fish of a lifetime. Maybe 6-7 pounder in the smallmouth world, or a 10-pounder if you're in Lake Erie like that dude caught. But if I had to catch one fish the rest of my life, definitely smallmouth. Yeah, man. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about what I'm doing, what I'm packing, what you're going to see, what my fishing strategies are. And if the boater will let me, I'm going to put my Yolatech back there. Some boaters are A-okay with that. Some boaters are, sometimes they have YouTube channels and things too. Sometimes they tell me to go get bent, which is totally fine too. That's their right. That's their obligation. I would never, obviously I can't force that, but if they don't want me to have a camera on the boat, you won't see any footage on the boat. Nothing I can do about that. Yeah, boy. Blind hog will find a nut every now and again, Nate. Just got lucky, right place, right time, throwing the right bait, and just come full circle. Anytime you can catch 4 fish at Grayson any day of the year is great, but anytime you can catch 2 keepers and the water's 41 degrees, I consider that a win. It's a good time. Another one of my goals for this year is to make so Kyle and I right now are looking at fishing the Ohio Bass Nation Tournament Trail. And that is 4 tournaments that they have semi-locally to us that allows us to potentially make the Bassmaster Classic. Is it a pipe dream? Is it a long shot? That's, a huge understatement. But you do have an opportunity to make the Bassmaster Classic from the nation side of things, whether that be Kentucky Bass Nation, Ohio Bass Nation, all, as far as I know, 50 states have a Bass Nation sanctioned league that you can fish. We're fishing as a team, which is weird to me. And you figure, hey, if you're fishing a team, how can you both make it to the Bassmaster Classic? Well, you can't. There comes a point where we as a team have to split up and determine which one is a boater and which was a co-angler. So that would be Kyle's a boater, me as a co-angler, and then that would allow me to go into the actual Bassmaster Classic that way. One of the things that I hate about the FLW series right now is that, one, especially in the Buckeye series, man, they are fishing like all river tournaments, most of them. Like, I live 30 seconds from the Ohio River. If I wanted to go to a place where I'm going to get my face beat in by 12-inch fish all day long and I may only catch 3, I would go over there and fish. I do that all the time. I know exactly what that is. If I'm going to pay $250, $300 to fish a tournament, I would like to go someplace where I'm going to catch some fish. But the other side of that is, as a co-angler, your series stops at the All-American. As a boater, if you win the All-American, you have the opportunity, if I'm not mistaken, to fish the Bass Pro Tour, I think, the following year. But that is uber hard. So as a co-angler, it makes more sense for me to fish the Bass Nation side of things. So I think that's what we're going to do, depending on their schedule. They haven't released their schedule. Last year, they fished like Rocky Fork and Alum Creek and Erie. It was a pretty good deal. So that's my goals and my plans for this year. And again, if you guys are just now joining it, if you guys see some stuff there, I do have some On Another Line tungsten here that is available. I am happy with the quality of it, guys. I was doing some research the other day, just checking it out, making sure that it weighs what it's supposed to, taking a look at all of the, the internals and make sure that it was not, it wasn't going to fray your line and stuff. And this stuff right here, again, I got 600 weights. So 600 different weights. So this is half ounce. Right here is an 1/8 ounce. So 1/8 ounce come in 4 packs. The 3/16 come in 4 packs. Then you have a 1/4 ounce, and you're going to have, I can't remember what it is, but anyway, they come in 3 packs. Then you're going to step up to the half ounce, which is going to go into the 2 packs. And then these are all worm weights, by the way. They're not flipping weights, but they can be used for either one. And this is a 3/4 ounce worm weight. This is what I'm going to be using for Carolina rigging and stuff. But these things, guys, like, for example, like these packs right here, these 2 4-packs right here, I'll be able to sell these first batch to you for $5 a pack. Like, that's a pretty good deal. $5 again for a pack of 4 of the weights. I'm just wanting to get these things out there. I'm not looking to make any money on them. Again, on the back side of these things, just want to show you here on this card. The reason I'm doing this is try to get my name out here. There's a QR code on the back of this card here. If you were to scan this with your iPhone or with your Android phone, it will actually take you to my YouTube channel. So without calling it what it is, it's basically just marketing for me as a channel. So I'm going to keep some of them for my own use, sell them to you guys for a little bit more than I got in them to cover my shipping costs to get here. And then it's a win-win-win for everybody. And then eventually, when I actually get the next batch in, I'm just going to do bulk tungsten, and I'm going to put a sticker on some Ziploc bags because I can sell them to you way, 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 way cheaper in the Ziplocs than I can in this clamshell packaging. Just the way that it works out. They look really cool. They're phenomenally packaged. They look amazing. They do have front and back here, really, really nicely packaged, but the shipping or the packaging absolutely killed my margin to be able to keep it really cheap for you guys. But again, like this weight right here, this 3/4 ounce weight would cost you like $8 at a store. I'll be able to sell this thing to you for like $3. So there's a ton of availability here. Again, I got 600 of them. If you're local, that's the best place to get them. If not, hit me up. Maybe we'll work out a deal where I can ship them to you. Just trying to get rid of this first batch. Sounds good, Nate. The way it's looking, I'm going to have plenty. So anyhow, back to the task at hand. Last week, fishing at Grayson. This is the first time I've ever put a boat in the water and had to. So back in like one of the creeks I was in, turned into ice all the way across it. So I turned around. There was ice in a lot of pockets. I was amazed that the fish were chasing. I always thought I was going to throw that crankbait all day long and my arm was going to fall off and I would be just skunked like everybody else was. Turns out a little different. Pretty cool stuff. Also, those of you guys that are interested in creating content, there is a thing out right now on Yolatech's website. They just announced it today, I believe. It's the Video of the Year contest. I actually won it last year for your guys, thanks to your guys' help. I won a ton of Yolatech's products and a lot of stuff from there. But they're having it again. I don't know. I may edit something together and throw it out there just for the, craps and giggles, because I didn't really do a lot of filming and editing this year, again, due to life happening. But I do have some catches and things like St. Clair and a few other places like that I could put these things together. So you may see that. But if you guys are into creating content and stuff, and you use a Yolatech product, you can definitely get in on that. I think they're giving away $4,000 worth of prize money and or like product. So might be a good way for you to get your hands on something like that. Hey, Carl. Happy New Year, bud. Let's see. You got a question about rod actions. 7.2 heavy versus X-Prize 7.2 heavy. Do you find the Adrena slightly softer? Absolutely, man. So the Adrena series, I've talked about it before, but the Adrena series, in my opinion, is more JDM specifications, a Japanese domestic market. The heavy or the medium heavy, like the 7.2 heavy versus a 7.3 medium heavy Adrena, I find that both of those are lighter than they're actually the actions say they are. For example, the 7.2 heavy, I feel like is almost like a medium heavy, potentially even a medium. It is way lighter than a heavy. When you think about a 7.2 heavy, for me, I think of like a G Loomis 894, 4-power, something like that. It's got a huge amount of backbone. You can really horse fish out of there. While I do think that the 7.2 heavy Adrena is a phenomenal rod, I own it. It's one of my Texas Rig rods. I love that thing. It's not, the action is not indicative. There we go. That's the word I'm looking at for what it's actually rated for. The 7.2 heavy in the X-Pride is going to be a stiffer rod. It's going to have more backbone. Actually, it's going to have a lot more backbone than the Adrena 7.2 heavy. Depends on what you're looking for. Again, if you're trying to pick up something for flipping and pitching or something like that, stay away from the Adrena line. Unless you go with like a large moving bait, and it's more of a moderate action, so you're probably not going to like that as well. if I'm going to be throwing jigs or something like that, I would go with the X Pride, just for the simple fact is that the Adrena does have a softer tip. I feel it's almost, man, I swear it almost feels like it has a more moderate tip than a fast action. But if I'm going to be throwing something like a spinnerbait, maybe not a heavy on the 7.2 heavy, 7.3 medium heavy is a great spinnerbait rod. I throw like mid-range, like 3/8 ounce Texas rigs on that Poison Adrena 7.2 heavy. Love it for that. But I would not pick it up if I was going to throw anything heavier than half ounce, maybe, because it's very spongy at that point. So I hope that helps you out. Great rods. Both of them are great, especially the new X Pride Bs. Phenomenal stuff. And I've said it 100 times, guys. I fished G Loomis and Shimano, but I would put the Poison Adrena rods up right against the NRX Plus. Are you going to get more bang for your buck with the NRX Plus? Sure. Again, let me preface what I just said by saying this. If you have a Shimano rod and you buy it directly off Greg, you go up to Greg at the tackle box and you pick up a 7.2 heavy Poison Adrena and you walk out the door, you have 1 year of pretty much unlimited warranty. You set the hook, that thing breaks, you call up Shimano, hey, I got a 7.2 heavy Poison Adrena, they will send you a new one. That's 1 year. After that 1 year, you break it, you buy a new one. That's the way Shimano's side of things work. Now, on the Loomis side of things, is the Loomis G Loomis NRX Plus almost half or double the cost? Yes. You're talking, like, matter of fact, the Adrenas are actually going up $25 at like first of the year due to inflation and things. I'm thinking that like some of the Adrenas are like $625 now, $650-ish. But the warranty, in my opinion, is not only the quality and craftsmanship of G Loomis. Again, you're getting one at a time, handmade, rods that are made here in the United States and in Washington State here in the United States. You do have a limited lifetime warranty. And the Loomis side of things has what's known as the Expediter series or Expediter service. Let's just say that you're in Guntersville, Alabama, and you're fishing a tournament, and you're there all week, and you're pre-fishing for like the first 3 days, and then your tournament's Saturday or whatever. You pitch into a log, and you set the hook, and you snap an 894 G Loomis NRX Plus. You can call them up and say, hey, I have a G Loomis 894 C JWR NRX Plus, and I like to use the Expediter service. What you'll do is, don't quote me on this, but I think it's $200. I think the G Loomis NRX Plus is $200. Don't quote me on that, but it's way less than the $650 price tag, and maybe $250 again. So don't quote me on that. But you can call them up and say, I want to use the Expediter service. What happens is you tell them where you're at. They will overnight a rod to you wherever you're at in the United States. So if you're in Guntersville, they're going to ship you a rod to there. And the only thing you do is take that broken rod and you put it back in that tube, which is pre-postmarked, and it sends it back to them. So, guys, I don't know if you've ever shipped a rod, but even just shipping it standard is anywhere from $60 to $80, it seems like. So getting that overnighted, it's almost like you're just paying the shipping costs. So if I'm not worried about warranty, I would look at the Adrena series. I think they got a lot of sensitivity going on to them. I like the carbon handles. I think the reel seats are phenomenal. The CI4 reel seats are great. The guides and stuff are amazing on them. I love the sensitivity of them. It's just the warranty that you have to worry about. Personally, I'm going to knock on wood here because I'll go out fishing next week and I'll bust everyone I have. I've been fishing Poison Adrenas for a better part of 4 or 5 years now, the newer ones. And when I set the hook, man, I lower the absolute boom on them. And I've yet to break one. It's all about how you're taking care of your stuff in and around your boat. If you leave stuff laying out, you're stepping on the guides, you're stepping on the tubes and what have you, you're not going to have a great deal. But if I'm not worried about money and I want to make sure I have something to fish the rest of my life, then I'm going to go with G Loomis because there is that limited lifetime warranty against manufacturer defects, and they have the ability to ship you new one using an Expediter series. Everybody have a great Christmas out there. I had a phenomenal one. Hitting the hard stuff tonight, guys. LaCroix Beach Plum, which doesn't sound like it will be great. Sweet, dude. Yeah, let me know. I'm interested to see what Gary Loomis has got out there now. Massachusetts. So it sounds like the 7.2 heavy adrenal will be perfect. Average Texas rig with smaller compact jigs. Yeah, man. If you're going to do that, that's a phenomenal rod for you. You're definitely going to like that better than the X Pride. It's going to be lighter. The handle again is phenomenal. I love it. I love the CI4 reel seat. And I love them. I don't think that there's, for the price point at like $325 to $350, I don't think there's a better rod on the market. And again, I am biased because I fish G Loomis and Shimano. And the reason is, first off, I will tell you right now that this is not a paid advertisement for G Loomis. I fish G Loomis and Shimano because I love them. And I was lucky enough to get affiliation through the tackle box for G Loomis and Shimano. But I find myself picking up Poison Adrenas a lot. For example, this past Sunday, I went fishing that tournament. I looked at my rod selection on the deck. I had 2 NRX Plus. I had an IMX Pro, the 866C CBR Deep Flex crankbait rod. That's the IMX Pro I had out, and I had an IMX. I had 2 NRX Plus casting rods. I had an NRX Plus spinning rod. I had a 172 medium heavy glass Poison Adrena, and I had the 173 medium heavy Poison Adrena, and that was the only rods that I had on my deck. I have a ton more, but I just find myself reaching for those rods a lot. You'll love that 7.2 heavy Adrena, and like I said, just I wouldn't go any higher. I don't know. You might be able to throw a half ounce on it probably. But that 5/16 to 3/8 there and that smaller Texas rig or compact jigs range is going to knock that one out of the park for you. Right now it's time to get into reel cleaning, and I'm going to be cleaning a lot of my reels. I have a ton of reels, guys. If there's a reel out there that you would like to see me clean so you can know how I do it, I don't care to do that. I have a ton of stuff on my YouTube channel as well right now. I'm also going to be looking at a bait making series starting this week coming up, talking about modifying different jigs the way that I do them and the molds and stuff, as also the way I am pouring soft plastics. I do have the ability to pour Cincos right now, so I'm going to pour some of those up. Again, you guys have seen those bait making videos coming up. But that's what I do in the wintertime. I clean my gear, I pour baits, and get ready for the spring, which won't be too far away. There are a couple tackle swap meets in our area coming up soon. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Marshall University is having theirs on January the 15th. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure. You have to get a hold of Bailey McKinney on Facebook. You can look at Marshall's Bass team. Again, that's January 15th. Rio Grande's having one. I'm thinking in February. That is actually in on the campus in Rio Grande. If you guys are up that way, they're having a tackle swap meet. I know the one at Rio Grande is free to get in. If you're a vendor, you have to pay for a spot. Marshall, if you're a vendor, it's $10 for a table, and I'm not sure if there's an admittance to that. But that stuff's coming up soon. We got a lot of the Ohio tackle shows coming up. Again, Jesse French from Blue Rock Custom Tackle is going to be at several of those. Really like the look of his 1099 jig. And again, it's a finesse jig. It's the name's slipping my mind right now. I'm going to go find it right now just so you guys can know what it's called. I liked it a lot. I bought the black ones. If I can find it here. Maybe I will. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Triple Threat Finesse Jig. That's what it's called. Really like it a lot. I'll show you the ones that I bought here, maybe. Let's see here. So I have this one right here, which is I'm pretty sure that is Ozark Crawl. blackout right here. I have blackout and Ozark crawl. Fished the blackout the other day. This is the jig that I caught the 3-pounder on. Again, I fish it in the 1/4 ounce. Really cool bait. Liked it a lot. Very first time I got it out. Really liked it. There we go. Rio Grande, January 14th. So it's the same weekend. I will not be able to make that one because I'm opening up for Clay Walker that same day. Yep. Thanks, Eric. No problem, Carl. Glad to help you out, buddy. Anything I can do to help you out, let me know. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm thinking about going to the Columbus one soon. I don't. Depends on when it is. I haven't looked at the dates. But I normally go to the Columbus one. But it seems like every time the Columbus one is around, there's a giant snowstorm, which is just the way it goes. So anyway, right now, guys, we're at that 1 hour mark, about 15 minutes in. So we're not going to drag tonight's episode on. We are going to be looking at trying to get some new talent on the show, people that you guys want to hear talk more than me. I'm going to reach out to hopefully the guys from Tactical Bassin, Matt and Tim, see if they will hop on because it would be an amazing day. Yeah, man. We'll let's see. February 10th and 12th. It's 10th to the 12th. Let me check my schedule here. If I can find the right application. February 10th and 12th. So that's the Tackle Box open house. So I will not be there. I work the Tackle Box that weekend. If you guys are in town or in the area, the Tackle Box open house again is the 11th and 12th. I believe. Make sure that's true. Yep. 11th and 12th is Tackle Box open house right before Valentine's Day. So come have your sweetheart buy you a new reel or something. Great deals there going on that time. Greg Drown has a crazy amount of NRX Plus in stock. Over 100. I think it was like 130 some rods. NRX Plus only. There's over 1,000 rods in stock. I could promise you, we were talking about it the other day, the amount that he's going to be selling his NRX Plus for that weekend only, it is going to blow your ever-loving mind. He will not ship them. I will not ship them. But if you're in the area, you need to stop by the Tackle Box that weekend and check it out because they have great deals on a lot of different stuff. But I'm telling you, those G-Limits NRX Plus are going to be flying out the door because they are going to be astronomically priced. Yeah, buddy. Make sure we'll see if we can't make it happen. Hey, Jim, what's up, buddy? Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate all the support. I love seeing all your comments on all my stuff. It means a lot to me, buddy. So again, we are right now, the goals of this year is to hit 6,000 subscribers. I'm going to be producing a lot better content, a lot more of it, and a lot better sustenance with that. So it actually digests a little better than just me going out and not catching any fish. Talk about why I didn't catch fish. That's what's going to happen. And again, so I appreciate you guys giving me some support out there, looking for that 6,000 subscribers. Mark, do have tungsten available. Again, guys, these things are going to be priced to sell for the first batch. They are going to be packaged just like you see here. Again, anything that has 4-pack like this right here, I'm going to be able to sell these things to you for about $5 a pack, which is unheard of. These things right here, this is going to be about $3 a pack for 2 half-ounce weights. And this 3/4 ounce weight right here is going to be the biggest savings that you've ever seen on tungsten. These things are about $7.50 to $8 a piece in any store that you find. I can sell these things to you for about $3 to $3.50, depending on how many you buy. So these are going to be a steal of a deal, just trying to get rid of what I have. I have 600 of them to sell right now. If you're interested, I don't care to ship some of them to you, but you guys are going to be paying the shipping costs, which kind of sucks because it is tungsten. It does weigh a little bit, but we'll figure out a deal. If you can, shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, however you're seeing this, let me know. But we will see what's happening over the next year and get ready to see some new content and quality content from on the line here. I cannot wait to show you guys what's going on. I'm going to reach out to people like Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, places like that. I'm going to go do some fishing with these guys and create some content that is different than you've seen from this channel. But one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is I have a 6,000 subscriber goal, or I am giving up YouTube. 6,000 subscribers, or I'm quitting. I'm not going to quit fishing, obviously, but there's a lot of work that goes into creating YouTube content, and it's just not that lucrative. I could play 1 gig every month and make 10 times what I make YouTubing. However, I would much rather fish and do the YouTube thing. So I'm giving it all I've got this year is what I'm saying. I'm not looking for pity. I'm just going to see what happens this year, starting now, because we're going to see some content coming out from me. And if you guys want to see what's up, you need some advice. I'm not a pro by any means, but I don't claim to be. I don't know everything, but if I don't know an answer to something, I could probably find somebody that does, especially if you're talking about the Shimano G-Loomis, Power Pro, Jackal line of things. There's a lot of people that know a lot more about that than I can get a hold of. I'm digging into the Humminbird side of things. Again, my biggest thing right now is I'm looking at getting the 360 transducer. And I'm going to be reaching out to a couple of you guys that have some businesses and stuff to see if you guys are interested in sponsoring the channel this year. We saw over 3 million impressions last year, which is a record by far. About 400,000 views, which was crazy. People were watching my channel like amazing amounts of time, so I appreciate that. Brandon Buckner sent me a screenshot today. It was pretty funny. If you search Grayson Lake Fishing on YouTube or on Google, like I'm just like 90% of the page down through there. It's crazy. But anyway, dude, I really don't think it's that bad. I was just being OCD about it. It's not ripped or tearing or anything, so I think it'll be all right for another year or so. I have to buy new batteries here soon. I know my Odysseys are fantabulous batteries, but there's no batteries on the planet last, an exuberant amount of time. Right now, this will be the 4th year they've been ran, so I know they're going to be starting to get weak, probably some of them. So that's going to be my next expense. I don't know if I'm going to go lithium. I may do a hybrid. I've seen some chargers that will charge both. Do like two AGMs, like 31 series for my graphs and things, and then run like one 36-volt trolling motor battery that's lithium. Just have to see. But that's going to be my next expense after the 360 transducer. That's going to be what I'm looking at, hopefully to get that for the spring. So if you guys are out there and you have somebody that may want to have their logo on this show somewhere, I'm all ears. So till next time, guys, thanks for sticking around this hour episode of On Another Line Live. We'll see you guys next time. Let's get out on the water. Let's go lean on some. We'll see you next time on Another Line.